Well, it's nothing back to lockdown. I know you'd rather forget about a time when many of us were thrust into depression and anxiety, but that didn't get Christi Steyn down. Well, she used the time to launch her TikTok channel, sharing her hope-giving poetry, and it proved popular, amassing over 700,000 subscribers in just a year. The social media star has now compiled some of her work into the book, What the Moon Gave Her. That's the title of the book, and she joins us now all the way from Cape Town. Christi, good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. I have to say, I like the cover of the book, very enchanting design that you have going on here. So definitely makes me wonder what's inside. It's almost like a treasure box that I just want to open up and see what I find. And that's the question, what do I find when I get myself a copy and start to read through some of your poems?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the lovely compliment. I also love the cover. It was quite like a big process to get it like that. What you will find in my book is 6 chapters. You know, we start with Birth by the Ocean, and then, you know, that's kind of your reborn poems, I'd say. And then we have You Plucked Too Many Petals, which is kind of the breakup poems, and How to Grow Wings. We have Dancing Dolphins, Full Moon, and also Two Trees Intertwined, which is the love poem. So there's definitely a lot in the treasure chest, I'd say. And then all the illustrations in the book is also done by me, but the cover of the book is done by a different artist.
Right. And would you say all the themes that you tackle are almost all of the emotions that we were feeling during lockdown? Because I understand that you also wrote this at a time when, you know, the whole world was thrust into uncertainty, loss, depression, a closeness with those they have. I think we almost didn't know what we had until it was taken away from us. But do you capture that moment through this book?
Yes, you know, a lot of the poems that I wrote was inspired by isolation, but I think the goal was to find the light in isolation. So not just to focus on the gloom, to also focus on the positive. You know, I think people saw more perspective to appreciate the things that they did have instead of what they necessarily lost. I mean, there was also loss, but it was important to focus on the moments of sunshine as well.
Let's talk about also, I mean, the hundreds of thousands of people that you also touched through your book, through the poems. I know that you were on TikTok. You have over 700,000 subscribers, or at least garnered them in such a short space of time. What was the feedback like from those who perhaps read your documentation of our emotions and feelings around that time? What did that work, your work, do for them in their lives?
Well, I think I found out that poetry it just shows you that people really crave connection, and people, you know, they want to feel less alone. So I think that my poems really allowed them to feel less alone, because I was writing about things that I didn't think that it would resonate, and I was writing about very, you know, mundane feelings, or at least in my perspective, and it seemed like, you know, people really did resonate with it, and people just wanted to feel heard in a way, and I think my poems did that.
The title of the book as well, What the Moon Gave Her. What exactly inspired that title for the book?
Well, you know, at nights when you are alone and by yourself, you always have the moon. And even if you feel like you are alone, so many other people have that same feeling. And in a way, you are not alone in that feeling, because you share that as a universal experience with so many people. Yeah, and then the moon is also kind of a metaphor for my grandmothers. You know, both of them have passed away, and my last grandmother passed away during COVID. So I see her as, or both of them as kind of my guides to help me write the book. And that's also why the dedication is to them.
Yeah, very personal indeed. I think so many people can also relate, and I think that's what makes this book so enchanting, equally enchanting, that there's a lot of how we can relate rather to the book in terms of how we felt. So where can we get the book? Before I let you go, Christi, for anyone who hasn't gotten their hands on the book, where can we find the book? When can we also get a hold of you?
So I think you can find the book in most bookstores. I know it's in Exclusive Books right now. I was so happy to see it was on the recommendation shelf, which I never thought would happen. So that made me very happy. But yeah, in a lot of bookstores, you can also order it online. I know on Exclusive Books, it's on Amazon. And my TikTok is Christi Steyn, and my Instagram as well, and my YouTube. It's all the same. So you can find me, you can find my book there. And also I do read my poems as spoken word poetry as well, because that's also one of my biggest loves.
Lovely. Congratulations. An Exclusive Books recommended book for you to get a hold of. Christi Steyn, thank you so much for your time. This morning, poet and author Christi Steyn talking to us about what the moon gave her, you know, a collection of, or a compilation of poems that Christi documented, and it just captures beautifully different emotions. And I'm sure you can relate, especially all the emotions that all of us went through during lockdown. All our thanks to Christi Steyn.